gotta get it, cause I gotta get it.
What's going on? It's your boy SB. All right, thank you much for tuning in. Let's get straight to it. In this video, we are going to go over Amazon's STAR method and interview process. I've gotten so many questions from you guys asking about the interview process and what's this thing called the STAR method. So in this video, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna go over it. Some questions that I've had is the interview process hard? What is the STAR method? How do you know if you pass the interview? Will they let you know? What's gonna happen next if you do pass the interview? So we're gonna go over all that. One thing that I do want you guys to do, there's been a lot of you guys who've said that you have passed the interview, whether it be a PA, AM, any of that stuff. So with this video, I want, if you have passed the Amazon interview, drop in the comments, put some tips that helped you. Put in the comments something that would help and benefit somebody else, because I want this video to be a video where other people can come and get notes, get tips to help them out when it comes to their interview. So many of you guys have told me about your interviews. Drop your tips in the comment section because it will definitely help somebody out. With that being said, let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna start off with the STAR method and then the actual interview process. What is the STAR method? What is this thing called the STAR? I remember when I started Amazon and was starting to inquire about moving up, they were like, yeah, you know, you gotta get your stories and you know, you gotta get the STAR method. Like, bro, what is this? Ninja Turtles, you feel me? Like, we throwing stars around here. What is the STAR method? So the STAR method, what that stands for is situation, task, action, results. So basically, when you go for an interview, they are going to ask you a question based on one of their Amazon principles, which is going to be the next video. We're going to go over that as well. The question that they ask you based off of Amazon's principles, they basically want you to answer it structured in the STAR method. So you're basically giving a story to respond to one of the leadership principles in a certain method, which is called the STAR method. I know it sounds confusing, like why can't y'all just have regular interviews like regular places? But that's just how they rock in Amazon. For an example, some of Amazon's principles, let's say one of them would be bias for action. That is one of their principles. It's actually like 15, 16 principles. I forgot the number. I'll get that. I'm going to do a video on the principles. We'll get the exact number and we'll go through them. But let's just say for an example, it's 10 principles. In your interview, they will tell you, be like, all right, so tell me a time when you were, when you took action and this and that. They're gonna base it off the principles. Amazon lives off the STAR method and their principles. So whenever they ask you a question in your interview, you have to put it in STAR format, STAR structure, situation, task, action, result. I get it. I mean, it keeps everything in order, your story in order, your response in order. It keeps it short and to the point. So that is why they do that. So let's say if they want to know, another principle is about ownership. All right, tell me a time when you took ownership. Situation. Okay, well, there was a time, because that's what they're going to ask you. Tell me a time where you took ownership, boom, 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 boom. You respond, situation. Well, there was a time, my team, we were struggling with this and this and that, action. And you know what I mean? So, and then the task. So you break down each one, the situation, the task, the action, and the results. And if you can throw metrics in there and numbers in there on how it affected everything. We were at 80% productivity and I introduced this project that I created. These are the metrics that I use. And after rolling out the project, it increased our productivity to 100%, 20% productivity. I saved Amazon. Stay in that format, STAR structure for your interview responses. And I am not playing. Amazon lives off of those two things. Amazon's principle, Amazon's STAR method. I promise you. So you have to make sure that you know the principles and you answer in the STAR format. I remember like I was asking some of my managers back in the day, just about, you know, going in for an interview. It's crazy. Like, it's like people become Amazon. Like, it's almost scary. I mean, I was like, yo, what's the STAR method? Like, how do you, and I remember like, it was almost weird when the manager I was talking to, he was just normal. Like, oh yeah, yeah, boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, the STAR method.
Okay, their STAR method is situation, task, action, result. There was a time
when I was like, yo, like, I don't think I want to move up here. What y'all gotta, you know, what y'all be doing in these interviews? You feel me? Like literally it switches like that. when certain people talk about these Amazon's principles. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on that because in these interviews, that's what they base it off of. That's the structure. That's what they're looking at. Principles, STAR method. And when it comes to the leadership principles, like I said, I will, within the next few videos, make a video just on that alone, what those principles are. So how many questions do they ask in this interview? I think it's usually around 2 or 3. I've never had more than 3 questions asked in an interview. And usually the time frame is between 45 minutes to an hour. When you're going for PA or even for my L4, I went for the learning coordinator. I passed that interview. That was an hour. Never had an interview longer than an hour. I know back in the day, they used to have pods for your, like 3 different pods for your L4. Not sure how that goes now. When I went in for my L4 pod, this was during this season where things were shut down and that thing was going around, the sickness that was going around. I'm not saying on my page because I ain't getting flagged, but you know what I mean? That was only an hour as well. Every interview I've had has never been longer than an hour. Time frame, 45 minutes to an hour, my opinion from what I've seen. So when you're going in for this interview, your manager, whoever is preparing you, they're gonna tell you to have stories ready. These are basically stories to respond to the questions that they're going to ask. In your stories, you want to make sure you're hitting the leadership principles, you know, whether it's bias for action, thinking big, all these different things, which we're going to go over in another video. People have asked me, how many stories did you use or did you prepare for? And that was a question that I've asked my peers going into an interview. Hey, how many stories should I have ready? What do you think? For me, I've always had at least 3 or 4. And with those 3 or 4 stories, I would make sure that I had at least 3 leadership principles in them. So no matter what question they ask, I can kind of bend these different stories to that question. And I have a few to go off of. So I would say 3 to 4 stories is the sweet spot for me. If you did it different and you're watching this and you did the interview, drop it in the comments below. Give us some tips. We all want to learn. But that's just from my opinion and my experience. I did 3 or 4. So let's say you made it through your interview. You sitting there nervous because you don't know if you passed or if you didn't, because they don't tell you nothing right away. Actually, I'll take that back. It's weird. In my PA interview, they told me right then that I got incline. I got a strong incline immediately. Right after the interview, they're like, all right, cool, strong incline. Oh, okay. But maybe because the other ones were for the L4, I had to wait 5 business days max to find out if I passed the interview. When it came to going to corporate, that was the max 5 business days to find out whether I passed it. And they didn't call me or anything. It was just an email saying, congratulations, you've been inclined, boom, 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 boom. Then they send you an offer letter. And when it comes to being a PA, I've never seen no one negotiate an offer letter. I think that may only be for L4. From my experience, for myself and the plenty of others that I've seen go into that L3 PA position, never seen them be able to negotiate the contract, their offer letter. They have tried, but the recruiter, they are really strict, like, nope, this is what it is, period. So I wouldn't look to expect to try to change your offer letter, but if you have some good reasons of why you could, or, you know, if you're strategic at that, go for it. Why not? But they will let you know if you got inclined or if you didn't get inclined with the email response from what I've experienced with my interviews. Is the interview process hard? Let me tell you, my first interview for my PA position, I'm not gonna lie, I think I put too much pressure on me because it's like, yo, since I stepped in the door, my main focus was promotion. I need to go higher. So I think that put a little bit more pressure on me because of the expectation that I put on it. But was the interview hard? It wasn't. You have to remember, these are just humans. I don't care if they're L5, L6, ops manager, senior ops, general manager. I will look and sit here and talk to the GM the same way I'm talking to you guys. Why is that? Not because I don't have respect for authority. I have respect for position. That is a fact. But when it comes down to it, these people are human. They use the bathroom just like you use the bathroom. They eat food. They got to eat just like you got to eat. They got to drink water just like you got to drink water. So don't let that intimidation when you go into these interviews cause you to have too much stress and too much pressure. because I know how that feels. So get it out of your mind. They're gonna introduce themselves and they're gonna ask you to introduce yourself. They're gonna be like,
yeah, I worked for Amazon 12 years. I've flown around the world. I know Jeff Bezos himself. I built his yacht.
no, I'm playing, they ain't gonna say that. They're gonna have some stuff like, whoa, I didn't know this is who I was sitting in front of. Sometimes. Who cares? You feel me? They're human, you're human. Honestly, when it came to the interview sessions, I'm like, yo, let's just get this over with. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. I just need the position. Just give me the job, bruh. I'll be wanting to say that, but I don't. I keep it professional. We handle business. But that's my tip for one of my tips. Do not let that pressure and stress overtake you, because that could be a hindrance in your interview. Also, another tip that helped me out a lot, my Amazon mentor, I would say, gave me some advice that really took away a lot of pressure before I went into my first interview. And what they told me, they said, listen, they're looking for a reason to incline you. They're not looking for a reason to decline you. So know that they're looking for things to bring you up, to incline you. They're not looking for a reason to put you down. So just by me hearing that, which somebody who was a ops manager and who was in the hiring team, hearing that, it's like, all right, cool, that gave me some peace. And that was one of the things that helped me get rid of a lot of stress that I did have going into the interview process. One of the tips that I used to prepare for the interview when it came to my stories, right? Once I had my stories, had about 3 or 4 of them, what I did, I would write them out. Then I got my cell phone. I would read it into my cell phone, boom, 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 each one. And then as I'm going throughout the day, I would just read my stories. I'll read it. I'll go outside. I'm hitting the weights. But now I got my headphones in. I'm listening to the stories. Later on, boom, I'm reading the stories. Boom, later on, I'm listening to them. Boom, later on, I'm actually saying it out loud, not just reading it, because it's just different when you say it out loud. And that helped me. I tried to just input and drown myself with the stories. Wasn't watching too much TV and listening to too much music. My focus for like the 3 days going in was stories. And then I would try to practice saying it without looking at it. Just things like that. You know what I mean? Don't stress yourself out. But my thing is, you can never over prepare for your interview if you can. So that is my opinion and my experience from Amazon's interview process. Be sure to know your STAR, structure your stories off the STAR method, and make sure you have the principles in your stories. If you are a PA, you are an AM, drop in the comments some tips to help people. That will help them in their interview. You guys have done it for the other video. You guys have done it for the other videos. It's been super encouraging. And for myself, I'm like, oh yeah, that's dope. Okay, bet. Anyways, it's your boy SB. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure, hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, so you can get all of my videos that are coming out. I will do a video on the principles pretty soon, but hope you guys have been enjoying all the videos. Let's go.
Look, I'ma go get it. So I gotta get it. I gotta go get it.